All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen so we can go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm sure everybody can see my screen by now. Okay. All right, so pretty much to hop into connectMLS, if this is your first time, make sure you log into your GAMLS.com account, just so that you can make sure you're here and you can see your dashboard. To get to connect, it'll be either under your dashboard right here, you can access it that way, or it'll be under the tools option and you can click on where it says connectMLS. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop in here. All right, I'm getting some, I'm gonna move something over here. There we go. That's much better. Now I can see everything. All right. So off the bat, this is your main page for connectMLS. I have a lot of things going on to my active searches that are going on in real time. So mine may look a little different. I have some things that I moved around on my dashboard, but that's another class. Go back, refer back to bootcamp number 1 or 2 for that. So to start a listing, the procedure is pretty standard in this case. If you go ahead up here to where it says listings, you can see all of the different functions that it will give you pertaining to any listings within the system here. Okay, so that's pretty standard there. So what I like to do, instead of going through the different options that I have here, I'll just go ahead and click on the actual icon for listings, because it gives you a breakdown of what's going on with those different options of how you can edit your listing or manage it that way. But today we're going to go ahead and start a new listing. We're going to go through one process, and then after practice, we'll go ahead through another way of starting a listing. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and to start a new listing, you're going to go ahead and click where it says add new listing. And when you click on add new listings, this is another feature on connectMLS. If you have any drafts that you've been working over time, they will appear down below under the option where it shows under incomplete listing saved as drafts. So keep in mind, when you start a listing on connectMLS, it does do kind of an autosave function so that you can always retrieve that listing that you were previously working on. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click on continue so we can start that over. So this is the beginning phase of starting a new listing. Of course, right now we're going to auto-populate it from tax data, but you also want to make sure residential is selected. Before I get to that phase though, because off the bat, this is the first function that we're going to do for tax data. I'm actually going to click on cancel. And one of the features within connectMLS, and one of the ones I actually like to go over, is I like to say that all the other platforms are connected in this case. What do I mean by that? Over here on the top part of your toolbar, you have this icon that looks like a globe and a little percentage sign. If you hover over it, it says tax. So this will essentially open up CRS, the MLS tax suite. Okay. So I'm actually going to refresh mine because I'm looking for it. So basically, when we're using that function for that tax information, that tax data, we're literally just going to pull one from your MLS tax suite, which you have access to through Georgia MLS. So I'm going to go ahead and open up one of the previous properties that I've had opened. I'm just going to, let's see here. All right, there's one. And I'm just going to use this for training purposes. Okay. So when I'm saying that I'm just using for training purposes, we're just going to use this address because this is a function that you'll be using, especially when you're pulling information from the tax data. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight this address. I'm just going to copy that really quickly. I just right clicked and clicked on copy, or you can click on, you can press Control C to copy. And I'm just going to keep some initial information in mind. Okay. So I'm going to tab right back over to connectMLS. And I'm going to go ahead and start that process again of adding a new listing. Okay. All right, so I know that this is going to be a residential property. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And I'm going to go ahead and keep this highlighted because by default, you're going to pull from the tax data information right here. Of course, there are some other options like auto-populate from text and MLS data, clone and text, and auto-populate from MLS data, which we're going to do later on. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start with auto-populate from text data. All right. So once this is open, you're going to go ahead and start that process. So we know that this is DeKalb County property that I pulled. So I'm going to go ahead and select in this drop down. I'm going to go ahead and select DeKalb and the state. Now all the states are in here, but I'm going to go ahead and click on Georgia here. So that part is done. Enter one or more. Okay, you can do postal code, you can do FIPS ID number, but right now we're just going to keep it simple right here. Okay, enter one or more of the following. Remember with this one, we're going to go ahead and type in that address that we already copied and pasted from the tax data. All right. So literally it's a process of following the steps, right? No real mystery about that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on next. And it pulls that address for me because it knows it's pulling directly from that option there, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'm going to click the checkbox here. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on where it says next. All the information is autofilled just because I'm taking it from the tax records. Okay. So let's go ahead and click on next. And this is the starting process of adding a listing into your, starting a new listing on connectMLS. Okay. So a lot of this information is already placed in here because it's literally just cloning that information from CRS into Georgia MLS, into connectMLS. Okay. So I don't really need to change anything. You'll see the red star for required information. Of course, this is for training purposes, so I get to have a little bit more fun, a little bit more leisure with that. So when you're putting your information in, just make sure it's accurate. Subdivision wasn't placed in here. So I can actually go ahead and move down here because there really wasn't a subdivision in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put in NA for that, just for that reason. See if it'll go through with that because there's no subdivision there. So I'm going to click on save and continue. Now, this is the beginning of adding that listing within your connectMLS profile there. Okay. So as I'm going through the listing, remember this is all information that was copied in from CRS, the MLS tax data. So starting the process. So just make sure this information is accurate. I might, like I said, I'm going to be a little bit more express a little bit more liberty when I'm doing this. So list price, you can always we're just going to assume, make an assumption for this property, even though you can just hop over to your tax suite that's still open. And you can see, I know this property is for sale, but you can, for training purposes, obviously you just won't put, you don't just put any number there. But for the reason of training, I'm just going to go ahead and just copy that latest mortgage there. I'm going to do about 125. Oh, can't do one of those. Let's be a little bit more updated and liberal for today. Let's do that much for that price there. Okay. The next step is coming up with that status. We're going to do a new listing today. Click on OK. List contract. I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and do for today's date. And on market, let's actually bring that out a little bit more. Maybe a month from now. Let's say listing contract day. On market day, that's going on the market today. All right. Expiration, let's go further out. Say this listing will expire. Yeah. Like I said, this is for training purposes. I'm just doing this as an example. It's not going to be too accurate or anything like that, but you'll see the different options of what it's actually giving you. Okay. So buyer agent compensation, just put a number there. And then you can go ahead and select that that compensation type. We're going to do a percentage here. Okay. Now, keep in mind, like I said, with the red star, that's required information. Okay. As you're putting your listing information in here, you can actually click where it says hide optional fields if you don't want those options to be featured. those fields to be in there when you're putting your listing together. All right, list without photos. Showing requirements. This is where you can put those showing requirements as far as when you want them to be via showing time or however you want that discrepancy to go. So you can do appointment only, 24 access, 24-hour access, courtesy call, anything like that. So for now, I'm just going to do appointment only. All right, home warranty. Just go ahead and fill some information in here. Lockbox type. Let's do Supra. Okay. All right. So right now, I can click on next, or I can, if I need to pause this right now, I can go ahead and click on that save as draft and continue and load that up another time. When we get to the transaction side, we're gonna go ahead and explore where you can access your drafts again and everything. So I'm just gonna click on next. And as you can see, it said saving draft already. So it kind of, like I said earlier, it kind of does an auto save feature for you, right? Okay. So the information that it pulled from the tax records is here. I'm gonna go ahead and do leased land. I want to say this is as far as leased land. I'm just gonna say no, not leased land. Do next, elementary school. Like I said, I can go ahead and go back and refer back to the tax information just to make sure my listing is accurately placed in here. So I can go ahead and type in Beachcrest. Or let's go ahead and go down where it actually is. I want to, there it is. Okay. So I'll go ahead and select that. Middle school, Mary McLeod, Bethune. You can see that it knows what county I'm in already because otherwise it would display all the high schools and everything like that. But since it knows that I'm in DeKalb County, it already highlights the ones that are in that area. So let's go to Towers High School with that. Towers. Association, let's go ahead and say yes. And this is also where these are the parts where we're talking about, especially when you're looking up features with your, when you're putting in your listings, this is where you want to get that association information, and your association includes fee. If it's part of any of that, you'll go ahead and select those discrepancies. So I'll just go ahead and select a few randomly here. Community features, this is where you can go ahead and put if it's by a lake, a park, racquetball, a pool as a community feature. Little tip here, this is where you can go ahead and put retirement community. That's where if you're currently listing a property that's a good one for 55 and up community, that's for where you want to go ahead and put retirement community. Okay, that's just one of those little cheat codes there. So I'm just going to select a few arbitrarily here so I can have something here, gated community. Click on OK. And next, lot description. Just going to go ahead and select some more here. Lot size source, public records, lot features. Let's do a cul-de-sac here. Parking features. Let's do a garage door opener. Keep in mind, these are, like I said, within features, this is also where members can go ahead and do searches for these properties. This is where you want to make sure your information is kind of accurate. Okay. So let's do central air, heating. Let's keep that together. I'm just going to go ahead and do electric, utilities, high-speed internet, cable available. I'm just going to, like I said, arbitrarily for today's example, water source, do public, sewer, tank. All right. Green features aren't required in there. So I'm just going to click on next. Ooh, here we go. Building interior. And the tax information can only give so much, so I'm just going to, like I said, I can go ahead and take that information here. Bedrooms. Let's do it. And they're talking about the upper, but I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to keep this simple. Baths, just one. let's like I said, arbitrarily, I'm just gonna go ahead and put a few. I'm gonna mix up a couple numbers just so that it's not too, above finished area. Go ahead and put 2,000 below grade finished area, another 2,000 square feet is what I'm probably gonna go about that. Living area source, we're pulling these from, if I have an appraiser, I can go ahead and highlight that, or a builder. But right now I'm going to go through public records there. Appliances, this is where you can go ahead and put those appliances. Let's make your microwave, all these new things that come free in the house, right? But also if it's, I'm referring to like if it's a builder situation there. Interior features, I'm just gonna go ahead and select a few of these. Click on OK. Flooring, this is a great feature to actually, when you're doing your searches, you can actually highlight what's being placed in the house. So you can do hardwood or stone or anything like that. Let's do in the garage. Okay. Rooms, bonus room, foyer, family room. Yep. So single family residence, structure type, we're going to go ahead and do a house. Property condition, let's do I know right now we're working on a resale, but like I said, we're going to be have a little bit more fun today. The year built, according to the tax records, is 1955. Let's talk about the future. So we're going to do something. You'll see why I'm choosing the year, but architectural type, let's say that this is going to be, let's do European or traditional. I'll go ahead and do traditional, or ranch or anything like that. Construction materials, let's do brick or concrete. Roof. Levels, we're on a 2, 3 or more for that one. I know, you're like, well, why are you selecting those? This is for today's example. All right, basement. That's another good feature to go ahead and add. This is where you want to go ahead and add, it's a finished basement or an unfinished basement. Fireplace is total. Let's do 2. Just for, you see the tax icon? That means it's pulling from the tax records. All right, next. Comments, public remarks. This is where you want to go ahead and put those public remarks, where you want to put no HOA as one, or those little small things that you want to make sure that's featured about your house, the property that you're about to list. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and put in, this is a test. Directions. Go ahead and put that in. And next. This is where you can go ahead and manage your photos. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to fill all that out and then get here. You can put the pictures in first if you would like to. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead here and click on Manage Photos. And this is where you can go ahead and add the photos for your property. So I'll click here to choose File to upload. I'm gonna go in my little gallery here, my downloads folder, listing. I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of the pictures that I want for this property. Click on open. And it's uploading all of the pictures for my properties here. All right. So right now it's already telling me, using image recognition, we can automatically discover and assign image titles for you to review. So it will send the program actually has a little bit of AI that will actually suggest what the property, what the pictures are going to be about. So I'm going to click on continue to use the feature. All right. So it's already suggesting what the properties are, what the pictures are about. Actually, let me get rid of that one. So this one, I can actually go in here and click on, I can use clicker to erase the title and add my own title. I'll say front. This is actually the front construction. So even if you want to change some of these up, you can go ahead and erase it and just add your own. You can change the order of them, however you see fit to use that, as I'm just clicking and dragging those up. Okay. can actually change that to living room. All right. So all of that is selected. I'm good to go with my pictures. If you want to edit the picture itself, you can go ahead and click on that pencil. Oh, that looks just like DeKalb County, right? Okay. So you can be able to go ahead and adjust the brightness or the contrast with that picture or rotate it or anything like that. I'll need to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to cancel that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Save Changes. And then the next section under Documents, and like I said, you can continue clicking on Next, or you can go ahead and click on these tabs here. So I'll go ahead and click on Next. And now this is where you want to go ahead and add those disclosure documents or anything, especially when you're adding those listings. So I'll click on Add New Document. And you can go ahead and choose that file from your computer. Right now, I'm just choosing a disclosure document. I'm going to go ahead and actually rename that. Once I learn how to spell disclosure. So I'll go ahead and put that in there, and I can go, and that's the thing I like about connectMLS. It keeps you kind of in order, kind of like your main checkoff lists. So if you want to keep track of how many documents you need for this per set listing, it'll actually give you some milestones to actually go through. So I'll just go ahead and put that as my lead-based disclosure form there. All right. And it comes up with the name already for you. This is a suggested name that you can go ahead and put there in there. And choose viewing restrictions. All agents with MLS access can see that, or realtors, your clients, or transaction dashboard here. We're gonna hop in there in a second. But this is where you can go ahead and check and uncheck those options. There was a question before in the class that were referring to the if your clients can see those documents. Here's the option to go ahead and select or deselect that. Right. So I'll go ahead and keep that all standard. That's good enough for me. I'm gonna click on add. And that is my next phase here. So that document is already in there. Right. So I'm gonna click on save as draft right now. And then I'll click on save and continue. And you can see if there's something missing, it'll already tell you, click on tabs on the to view and correct the problems with your listing. Already with listing terms, the first phase, what's missing? Oh, it can't be right. Okay, I know. It can't be date in the future. Even though, oh, that's March. Gotcha. All right, just kidding. All right. Now save and continue. Still, oh, still, like I said, with that, it'll always let you know what's missing from here. Close of escrow there. Now, can I save and continue? Okay. Now, when the listing is complete, it'll already give you the listing summary, and you can assign the listing ID number here. It already says congratulations, and I have reviewed all the information here, and I can assign the listing ID number here, and it'll give me some options of what to do after I place that listing in. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to go ahead and practice that. That what I did just now was go through a listing, adding a new listing with tax information. Okay. I'll give you a few minutes to start that process. You don't have to go in depth like I do, because I think on you guys' accounts, it'll actually tell you to go ahead and add an actual listing. But for now, save it in drafts if you get that far. Okay. So does anybody have any questions at this time? Okay. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to go ahead and try to sift through that process a little bit. And we'll go ahead and pick back up in about 2.5 minutes there. Just realized I was on mute. Okay, we're gonna try that again. Hopefully, you guys are able to go ahead and see what you can do after starting the process of adding that new listing. There are a couple ways to get back to get back to a draft that you were working on, or look at the current listings or transactions that you may have. I'm just gonna go here and oh, before I start back, you see that after you're done with that, adding a new listing, it does have some options here. View your listings, your my listings and transactions list, manage documents attachments for this listing, upload a photo, add new listing, create a flyer, or go to your my MLS homepage or reposition the property on the map. So it does come up with some options of what to do next. If you need to create a flyer within the program, it does allow you to do that. So to get back to your lists and transactions, there's several ways to do that. I'm just going to go back home to my dashboard. So I'm back here. I can use one of my shortcuts here that says my listings and transactions. That'll open up that same option that I'm about to go to. I can do that. Under listings, I could click on view, manage my listings and transactions. Or the third option, yeah, I told you there's a lot. You can actually click on this manila folder icon and it'll open up your same lists and transactions. Okay. So to get back to your drafts from here, you can actually just click on where it says all actives and pending and go down here to where it says draft and partial listings. Okay. If you ever need to hop back and edit anything, work on a listing that you're working before, say if there were some documents that you wanted to re-upload or anything like that. Okay. Another way to start a listing, obviously, you see where it says the listing on the listing and transactions page. But another way to start a listing, we went through one of the ways, but another way to start a new listing is to auto-populate from tax data or clone from the MLS tax data or clone. Okay. So I'm just gonna take one from an address that let's go ahead and take one random one that I was on the other day. I'm just gonna take that listing ID number. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay. I'm gonna go here and I'm actually gonna go over here and use this other icon that looks like a window here that allows me to go through, add another workspace. Okay. So with that, it opens up another window for connectMLS so that I can continue work and multitask. So I'm going to go here to add new listing. I'm going to start with the property type, residential. And this is where I can go ahead and select auto populate from MLS tax data or clone. Okay. So from there, I've already taken the listing ID number. You can use the address or a partial number. So I'll go ahead and place that listing ID number in there. I'll click on next. And it already has that information for me, ready to go ahead, go for and take. So I can go ahead and click on the listing ID number just to see that property again, just to see, okay, all right, yeah, this is the right one, okay. And then after that, I can go ahead and I've selected that one in the box and click on next. All right, so a lot of this information, once again, a lot more than, with the tax records is in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and save and continue. And all this information was literally copied from the listing, from the MLS listing ID number into Connect for this, for adding that listing into the system here. It's in the name, it's a clone, okay? So everything has cloned over, right? So that's all good and done and everything. And this is where, once again, if you just want to upload any documents and stuff like that, there's the option there. But let's say if you're done with going through a listing and you're like, okay, I need to go ahead and add some things to maybe edit that listing or so. I'm gonna save that as dropper now. I'm gonna go back to I'm back at my listings and transactions. Like I said, I just came here. And I'm actually gonna click on this MLS number. And this will actually take me to the transaction dashboard.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So this will actually take me back to the transaction dashboard so that I can continue to keep up with the work with this one listing here. So all the information is here. This is the listing information that's in here. And like I said before about it keeping track of any milestone that you've done with that listing, if you want to add or upload any, if you want to add seller participants, you can add, there's an option there. But if, let's say if there are some other documents that you need to upload, option period, a contract, you can go here and click on edit transaction status. And you can go ahead and keep track of the work that you're doing. And was it signed by the buyer, or earnest money? Is it received? Or, this is the way to keep track of basically all the transactions that you're doing within Connect as well. So you can add some notes. No, it didn't go through, anything like that. So remember, this is the listing that we started off with in the beginning. So you can keep track of everything that you need with that listing in this one centralized place. So even participants, you want to add anybody like your client or anything. Messages, this is where you can message back and forth to your client or through their client portal option. Or if there's any other documents you're ready to add to it, like a signed document, you're able to add that to the transaction dashboard as well. Or any services, service partners, or anything that you want to add here as well. That's in there. I mentioned creating a flyer first because that option is actually still here as well. So if you ever want to create a flyer, even though that might be for a future class, I'll go ahead and show you anyway. Or creating a flyer with that one property that you were able to pull from the one that you made. I'm just going to go here and click on multiple photos, select the client here. I'll go ahead and select Dorothy Gale. Right. That MLS ID number is in there, and I can click on continue. And here's the start of my flyer. So I can always change this up and say open house. Change this up. Bold. I can change my colors. And then I can go ahead and generate my flyer report. So that now I have a flyer that I can save in my files or just save it or download it as a PDF and everything as well. So I can save that. And I'll go back to my folder. All right. So that's pretty much how the multiple ways to get back to a listing. I'm actually going to go ahead and see if there's anything that you need to add or edit in a listing. Just go back to your lists and transactions here and click on that pencil where it says edit and click on that edit. And if there's any details that you need to go back and change or edit just to make sure they're more accurate, you can actually go ahead and click on edit listing details and you're back. Okay. That's the way to get back to editing your listing to make sure the information is accurate so it can be re-uploaded back into the system here. Okay. Save changes. Is once again, your listing has been successfully changed. So I'm going to go back here again just to show the other options here. So I'm under edit and I can edit the fields for admin purposes, reposition on the map, or here's another way to configure your showing time and change your transaction milestones. And that'll take me back to the screen for the transaction dashboard there. Okay. Any questions on anything that we went over today? No, everything was pretty straightforward. That's okay. That's all right. It's okay. So a couple things before we get out of here, before we finish up here. If you ever want to refer back to the previous bootcamp series, you hop over here. I'm back on my dashboard under connectMLS. If you go over here under where it says under bulletins, you'll see Watch Now On Demand connectMLS bootcamp webinars. You can actually click on that option. And you can see all the other boot camps that are pretty much on demand that you can actually go back to and refer back to. Now, that's on connectMLS, or you can go back to Georgia MLS. And under support, under GAMLS product mastery, you have an option for our Vimeo channel that has the boot camps, and as well as our YouTube channel that has a playlist of our boot camps here as well. Any questions over anything we went over today? Well, if that's everything, guys, that's all I have for you today. If it takes you more than 5 minutes to do anything, go ahead and give us a call and we'll be happy to help you. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.